Hello, House of Pronounced Reviews here for today's, if I really should say, full-on review, but I am still doing it. Poke around anyway. Wicked, yeah, I'm talking about this. I mean, I was keeping track of this movie for a while, whether or not it would fit into my schedule or if I'll have the time to see it. But I was able to find the time, and here we are. I watched it over the weekend, and well, before and I had a good time. Now, I guess I should start with this one thing. I have not actually seen the Broadway musical. I yeah, I have not seen the stage musical, and I know it sounds like a really bad thing, but it's not like I have not known about Wicked. I mean, it's it's been everywhere. I mean, next to Cats, Phantom of the Opera, Hamilton, Les Miserables. Um, they're one of those, you know, mega musicals that I automatically know when I hear that term. And Wicked is always, I know that poster image, that image. It it's part of pop culture, and it's not like I. And the thing is, well, I've never really seen the musical. I've heard a lot of the songs from in a variety of different places. And of course, I've kept in track, and it's not, and to be fair, I've kept a lot. I've always had a appreciation and well, a love of the work of I've always kept track of the work of Stephen Schwartz. I mean, he is one of the great lyricists in any sort of media. I mean, I and especially when it comes, and I'm a fan of his film work. I mean, the I mean, the likes of Hunchback and Notre Dame, and well, as you saw in my top 10 DreamWorks movies list, I praised his work in The Prince of Egypt to well, pretty much high up to the higher up. So yeah, I've always been a fan of his work. And just to be, and maybe a heads up, um, I'm probably not done talking about his work in Prince of Egypt just yet. I'm not talking about the stage musical. It's other things. But yeah, um, so yeah, going into this, yeah, I was a little bit. Maybe I should have you know, maybe not have watched it because, as I said, I've never watched the musical or live. But the thing is, as I said, I know the story. I know almost everything about it. I've heard all the songs, and I felt, you know what? For my first attempt at this, I'll give it a shot. And look, let me just state this: before I ever see Wicked on the yeah the Wicked musical, it will probably be third on my list. I want to see I want to see the Lion King stage musical and Phantom of the Opera first. Maybe even I might put Les Mis up there first, but that before Wicked. But yeah, going into this, I saw the previews. I saw the cast. Everything looked really really good, and I was like, okay, at the very least, this wasn't going to end up like Cats. And I'm sorry if people are going to, with the success that this film has had, that people are going to riff more on Cats. Well, that's its own doing. Yeah, I really got to. I'm not going to go into depth with that, but um, so for me, they obviously split these Wicked into two movies. Part one focuses on Act One and ends at the exact point, which is when Elphaba becomes the fully become embraces the role as the Wicked Witch of the West. And Act Two will cover and Part Two, which will be released next year, will cover Act Two. So yeah, and going in, for being so obviously with this, they do sort of expand a bit more on how the musical actually went, and also change things to work in a theatrical format, a movie format, I should say, and obviously you know, it just, and maybe change in a few other things as well. I am glad that they did this with splitting both Act One and Act Two of the musical into two separate movies. I think that was a really good idea. Again, maybe something Cats could have done, or certain others. Like I don't know, if they were going to do Hamilton, I would have to imagine they would have to do the same thing in my view. Um, Obviously, I think the music is good. Obviously, these are still Schwartz's original work songs, and you got to give credit to all the actors and the singers for dub some. So I'm sure that's how it works. Yeah, they do a really good job. In terms of the actors, I will say this. With the I think they all make good choices with the cast of this film, but with the exceptions of Ariana Grande Cyn- and Cynthia Erivo stand out, and obviously great. People are giving praise to them that they deserve all the praise they get. But other than them, along with Peter Dinklage as the goat, um, everyone else is just really okay. Like they're not great, but I wouldn't call them fantastic. Uh, you know, uh, you know, anything more than just good in this film. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is probably I thought Kate maybe could have been a little bit better. She does okay, but she's not perfect. And Jeff Goldblum as as the Wizard of Oz. Obviously, he in the musical he's introduced at the very end of Act One. Act Two, he gets more expanded on. So I think so you're only really going to get maybe 10, 15, 10 to 20 minutes of Goldblum in this. So maybe wait. So just maybe get more of a gauge of his performance when Part Two is released next year. So yeah, I'll probably be the same thing. Feel the same way. And the visual effects all good. The set design, the costume design, they all feel like the way they looked in the musical. Um, I think, as I said, I give praise to how the way where they chose, obviously to have, the ending of this part. And I think, as I said, all the actors do a good job singing. And whoever dubs certain characters, they did okay. I I think the only problem I have with Wicked, and this is going to be more of a personal problem, and it is with Glinda. Again, nothing wrong with her as how she's portrayed. From how I've heard, that's how Stephen Schwartz and the people behind the musical wrote her, and even the original person who wrote the original Wicked book by Gregory Maguire. Again, I haven't read it, but Galinda for all, and Ariana Grande does perform really well, but for the first, for at least I don't know, right, for a large portion of the film, she is very very unlikable, and as far as I know, that is what's meant to be in the musical, but for me, she was a little bit too pretentious is what I'm trying to say at certain points. Like until she real when Elphaba give has requested Michelle Yeoh's principal character, it gives her a chance to practice magic. And seeing what she does to how she tricked Elphaba to go to that play in her witch's hat and get mocked at. Yeah, she reminds me a lot of well, yeah, I'm just saying, she is very much a bully in that part. As far as I know, that's what it should be. But like you gotta, but also the fact she's so obnoxiously, cutesy and fancy, and I know, as far as I know, that should be the case. as far as I know, it really should be the case. But you got to at least have some sort of you know intelligence of it at certain points, and have things consequences coming your way is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I think you can guess where I'm going. This reminded me a lot of Marley Shelton's performance as Diane in Sugar or Spice. And I think you may remember, and for those who saw my review of that only a couple of months ago, you would know I do not like that movie, and uh, Shelton's character is one of the main reasons as to why. Yeah, I just got so many vibes with it. Um, but yeah, that's other than that, she does get better, but buying the friendship that they supposedly gain after that dance, um, I can't really say if I buy it. Especially when they get to the end where they both go separate ways, like because of Elphaba's decision. Elphaba finding out the lie that the trickery that the Wizard of Oz is doing. I'm just like, with how Galinda is acts and her mindset, I kind of feel like she should have actually sided more with Elphaba. I mean, I'm not. Again, look, I haven't seen the musical, but I'm just saying, for the way she acts and written in this film, I sort of get the feeling she should be a little bit more on Elphaba's side and actually want to run away with her and to work on exposing the Wicked Witch of to expose the Wizard of Oz and their principle. It's yeah, I don't know. I know I sound like I'm being critical of it, but it's just the way I feel about this. But again, I don't think it's bad. It's just that's what I get from it. But overall, this Wicked Part One is what I'm going to refer to it. It is good. I think it's really good adaptation, and I am looking forward to what Part Two is like next year. And yeah, for all those who are thinking whether I'm going to say the same things as say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the thing is with this, the fact that I know they split this in two, and this only covers Act One of the musical, compared to Across the Spider-Verse, where it's own original thing. And because I do not know what the second part is, and I just felt like they could have made it, a bit more of a standalone thing, much like how I felt Dead Reckoning One handled being a part one of a larger story of a film arc. Um, yeah, it's just because of the fact that at least I know this was intentional, and I know, and I guess also the fact that I do know that it does fall. It makes sense why they would end it like that. Wicked, I'm giving it an 8.2 out of 10 hash stars. I think I'm really glad I saw it. I makes me want to probably now get a chance to see the actual musical, maybe even read the book. We'll see about that. But yeah, I think it's good, and I'm looking forward to see what part two is like next year. And as far as I know, I think if I'm correct, it's going to be released at the same time as Avatar 3. I have more hope with Wicked than I do with Avatar. Sorry. But anyway, in terms of movies being released in theaters now, uh, well, Moana 2. Yeah, I'm going to review that next. Well, go see that next and then review it. And, I'll probably do some other things too. Probably won't do too many videos themed around Christmas or the holiday season. There'll be a few, but nothing too, but really only maybe two or three, excluding films released in theaters and the odd, hopefully a few video games here and there. But in the meantime, House of Fermats is out, and I shall see you next time. Ciao!